I think a section of Nigerians question why the president couldn't take 30 minutes, go to this community and actually visit the people. You had to truck those who were affected to the airport
the president arrived late.
To meet the president.
Let me explain to you. The president arrived late. He knew what was going to because I said he had a prior meeting in Abuja with the president of Chad. So that delayed his movement to Jos. He arrived late, but ahead of him, he had sent the chief of army staff, Lieutenant General Waidi, to the state. He had sent the defense minister. He had sent some of the IGP, Inspector General of Police, to the state. They were all in Jos ahead of him. And they had all of them had gone to Rukuba to really find out what was happening and what happened there, and then to try to calm the place down. So all of them waited for him at the airport. When he arrived, he faced a particular problem. From the airport of Jos to the town will have taken about 40 minutes. And because that it would take him 40 minutes, he also knew that you cannot fly out of the airport after 6 p.m. So time was really against him. So he had to make everything quick to leave the city.
There are those who feel that it was a photo op moment. And not, it was a photo op moment. Those are the concerns, advisor.
It's far from that. The man, he achieved his aim. Representatives of the victims, they all came to the meeting. The leaders, the local leaders in Plateau, they all came to the meeting. If you watch it on television, you see what the president did. He allowed all these people to speak.
Now that a few days have passed since this incident happened, are you able to tell us definitively how did these killings happen under the watch of the government?
Well, as a government, you cannot predict at times when these gun-wielding elements in our country, where they will strike and things like that.
Isn't that why you have an elaborate intelligence unit to help you do that? No. Well, sometimes, or most of the time, our intelligence officials are able to nip in the bud a violent conflict like this. But I think this one escaped their radar. Nobody expected it. It just happened. But just right from decades ago, 3-4 decades ago, has always been a center of this kind of conflict. It's a communal conflict between Muslims and Christians, and that's what happened. So it's been several days again since this incident occurred. How many arrests so far have been made?
I cannot speak on that because I don't have that information yet, but I know the security people...
Advisor, who would have that information? Your advisor to the president?
They must have made some...
So can you say that no arrests have been made so far?
I say I don't have that specific information now, but what I know is that the security people are swarming the place. The president even gave them a direct order to go there and arrest the troublemakers.
The president made a promise in that brief meeting at the airport with residents that this will never happen again. How can he make that promise? On what grounds was he making that promise?
With what has happened there, government knows that it has to put many boots on the ground. It has to increase the intelligence in that zone to ensure that we don't have such conflicts anymore.
So why should the people believe him? Because previous promises have been made and the attacks still happen.
Well, this is a promise. He has not made such promise before. He's making it to the people of Jos. The government will do everything possible to ensure that we don't have a repeat of what happened on Sunday.
Nigeria's electricity challenge is like an octopus that has begun wrapping its tentacles around the president's neck. Last Friday, the presidency said President Bola Tinubu could not enter Jos to console the families of those killed in the Palm Sunday attack because the Yakubu Gowon airport had no electricity for night operations. The city was 40 minutes away and the visit of the Chadian president earlier had run long. However, such a defense only handed more nails to his critics to crucify him properly. The president flew to Plateau State to commiserate with the families of the 28 innocent souls killed in the attack and the more than 20 people who were injured. The chilling video of Rhoda Favor Ayuba, a mother clutching the lifeless body of her son, shook the nation. The time when attacks had become mere news, that image became a rallying cry for Nigerians. raised their voices against this persistent bloodshed. Tinubu consoled the grieving families, declared that such an attack would not repeat itself, and, as he did in Benue State last June, demanded arrests from the security chiefs. 5,000 AI-enabled cameras will also be planted across the state. However, Nigerians could not ignore the location of the condolence visit, which happened at an airport departure lounge. A measure that, the presidency explained, was meant to enable Tinubu to visit and jet out before nightfall. The airport could not accommodate a takeoff in the dark. Among many words of consolation, he told the gathering, "You have no light at the airport, and I have to fly back within the next 10 minutes. Anyone could have said that to the people of Plateau, a local government chairman, a commissioner, but the president, the man on whose table every buck stops, the man who, just a week earlier, stood at the APC National Convention and assured Nigerians that his administration was paying attention to the blackout. But this was Nigeria's Asian power crisis, doing what it has always done, embarrassing whoever occupies the office of the president, embarrassed Obasanjo, Yar'Adua, Jonathan, and Buhari. And on that Thursday evening, it held Tinubu up before Nigerians, just as Rafiki, the baboon, held up baby Simba for the animal kingdom in The Lion King. This time, however, it didn't say "Bo" to the prince. It said, "Look upon your president. Look what I'm making of him." It was like a visit where the guest only stops at your porch and doesn't go in. Nigeria's electricity challenge is like an octopus. It has tentacles in generation, transmission, distribution, gas supply, metering, regulation, tariffs, political will. Every government since 1999 has wrestled with one tentacle or two and declared victory, only for the creature to regrow its limbs or tighten its grip elsewhere. To be fair, Tinubu is not uniquely responsible for the darkness at Jos Airport. That failure has a long value chain stretching from the transmission company to the local disco to the airport authority. But the octopus does not care who built it. It only cares who is sitting in the chair when it squeezes, and it is squeezing Tinubu hard. The president, driven into Jos, visited the hospital and walked the streets of Angwa and Rukuba. The opposition would not have had him for lunch the way they did within hours. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar called it a choreographed spectacle. Some residents said they would vote for him at the airport in 2027. A lawyer on X wrote that if it were a campaign, the president would have entered the nooks and crannies of that state. The power failure handed Tinubu's opponents their ammunition, and they didn't hold back. Mr. President, this present darkness is giving you a bad name. It is making your good be evil spoken of. You flew to Jos to sympathize with grieving citizens. The video of you addressing Rhoda showed a man who was moved, but the power crisis turned your empathy into a spectacle, and it will keep doing so until you treat it the way you have treated the state police question. Mr. President, on state police, you hijacked the conversation. You championed it during several after dinners with governors and lawmakers. You pushed the constitutional amendment, and now the dominoes are falling. No one is asking whether state police will happen. They are only asking when. Mr. President, do the same with power. Own it. If it means doubling your portfolio as sitting Minister of Power, do it. Your predecessors doubled as Ministers of Petroleum Resources for a reason. Some problems are too big for delegation. The Grid Asset Management Company is only a start. But starts are what they are. Starts. The octopus needs to lose at least a few tentacles before you conclude your presidency.